Hello and welcome back to Season 3 of Candid Convos with Jona Dance. My name is Monique Jonas. I'm the founder of Jona Dance and your host for today's episode. Here at Candid Convos, I have the wonderful pleasure of inviting lovely guests to join me in conversation about pretty much anything and everything contemporary dance and the wider dance industry here in the UK. I'm super excited to share that we are now on Apple Podcast as well as YouTube and Spotify, so a variety of platforms to cater to whichever platform you prefer listening or watching, because I prefer video. So please continue to join in, like, comment, subscribe and all of that good stuff, and continue to engage with Candid Convos. Today, I'm super excited to kick off our third season with the wonderful, multi-talented, legacy-building Joseph Sissens. Hello, my dear.
Hello, my love.
How are you?
I'm good. Your voice is so soothing.
Thank you. Thank you. I will take it. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm actually really good. I had
Yeah?
a good old Nutella donut. Started my day off really well.
Okay, Nutella donut
Yeah.
for breakfast?
Yes, absolutely.
You said, let me start with some energy.
Yeah.
To get started with our episode, could you start with telling us a bit about who you are? Although I imagine a lot of people already know who you are, but who is Joe Sissens?
Yeah, my name is Joseph Sissens. I am a principal of the Royal Ballet.
Yes, you are.
It does feel nice to say. My career is also like very, very identified by like multi-faceted genres of dance, which I find really, really special. I'm not just a classical dancer. I do like a lot of contemporary work. I do a lot of neoclassical. I've been like lucky enough to curate a little bit. I write a little bit.
You write?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff do
Yeah.
you... Wait.
That's a
Wait.
whole...
You write? Well, what do you write?
I'm studying a degree at the moment.
Pause. We're like 2 minutes into the
Yeah.
episode. Okay. Tell us about the degree. What are you studying?
So it's an arts and humanities degree. So it's kind of like a mixture of lots of things. But eventually I would like to be a writer. I'd like to be a script writer as well as a dancer.
Oh my
That's kind of,
goodness.
yeah.
Is it...
Really odd like mixture.
I don't think
But,
it's an odd mixture.
yeah.
You're a creative, and I feel like sometimes our creativity doesn't just have to express itself in one way. So this is very exciting. Oh my goodness. So script writer for any sort of medium in particular, or?
At this point in time, I really love the idea of writing for drama. I love the idea of writing for kids.
Oh.
A good Steven Universe, the kind of thing. Oh, the only thing I think I know at this point in time is I know nothing.
Okay.
And secondly, I don't think I want to be like the only writer. I don't want to be like this book written by Joseph Sissens. I don't want the pressure.
Oh, you want to collaborate with people?
Yeah, I definitely want to be on the writer's table, like going home with the page, coming in, sharing it with others. I think holding up a classical ballet as like the principal, love it, but also like it's enough pressure for like 15 years of your life that I think when that's like completed,
Yeah.
I don't think I want to like go into my 60s still being like
Sure.
the name. Do you know what I mean? I want
Yeah.
to be part of something like not bigger, but like more collaborative, I guess.
That's super exciting. And is that something that you've always wanted to do, or is that something that you kind of recently discovered that you were also interested in?
I've always loved writing. When I became a principal, I felt like my life kind of opened up a little bit because I put so much pressure on achieving that goal that it meant that I couldn't quite live other parts of my life, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And so achieving that opened up some space in the fact of it was just like, okay, what does Joe think as well? And Joe thought my education wasn't strong enough.
I love that you're referring to yourself in the third person.
Yeah, no.
As well.
Maybe it's a sign of psychopathy. I'm not entirely sure. I'm really passionate about dancers' education, and not just their education in dance, their education in the world
Yes.
and everything. And I think when I was younger, I had such a goal and such a dream to be a dancer. And I think it's really helped me, that like psychotic level of like, I'm going to be a principal of the Royal Ballet. Like it does take a brain to do that.
I mean,
Like,
it takes a lot of resilience
Yeah.
and determination.
and I think a little bit of craziness, which is fun.
But I feel like everyone in the arts
Yeah.
needs a little bit.
Yeah.
I just say delusion.
Yeah.
Like we need a little bit of delusion to believe that these things are possible.
I think so.
And they are, because here you are sat as principal. So
Yeah. In other parts of my life, I really didn't invest in my A-levels. The idea of going to university was just like absolutely not even an option. And so when I got that rank and I kind of like have been able to live a lot of my dreams, and now the dream is kind of like growing in my role now as a principal rather than not getting there.
Yep.
It's meant like I was sat down and I was like, oh, I can do so much more. I've always loved writing. I love writing poetry, but I just felt like my control over the English language wasn't like strong enough.
Interesting.
That's when I decided to, just apply for the Open University. And I would always like recommend if a dancer's even considering it, there are places like Dance Career Development and stuff like that that just do change things for us.
So is that how you got into like understanding which course to take? Did you go through DCD or was that kind of a different route? Because I know you just mentioned Dancers Career Development.
I actually already knew.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought about studying history.
Love.
History was worrying for me because if you're a dancer that doesn't have like an education and you want a job after you stop dancing, to do something like history, which I didn't know what I would do afterwards.
Understood.
I adore history, but I was like, there's not enough of I needed more direct decision at the age of like 38, 40 when I decide to transition.
Okay.
I can't be doing like 6 years of like, I don't know, she's got council tax to pay.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I needed a bit more of a...
something with a direct path, maybe. Or you could see like tangible pathways of something post studying.
Like a more flurry, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I mean, I'd love to be an Egyptologist, but I don't know how many places there are to do that. So I was like...
Well, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, Delulu.
There's no reason why after studying on your like humanities degree now, that this, you never know, could connect you to something that can bring you into a world that has more of a history focus, but uses the knowledge that you're learning now. Like, you never know.
I love that thought. And it just, even just the idea of like, at the moment, I'm learning how to write academic essays, which I've never done. And little things like referencing and just things that I just didn't have to do at the Royal Ballet School, which I think...
We're going to come on to this
it's
just
very,
now.
Yeah, I think it's very character building. And I really, really appreciate that. Like, it's hard to like come off of a rehearsal in a show and then open a textbook.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's very easy.
I feel like it's a different part of the brain.
Yeah.
When I was doing my postgrad degree, I was performing with Richard Olsen at the time. And it was very much this thing of being in rehearsals and maybe doing a show. And then the morning before we go back into rehearsals, I'm there researching, I'm writing my essays. For me, I don't know if it's the same for you. I feel like I was using one part of my brain and then I would have to like access a different part of my brain when I go back into rehearsals.
I feel like I'm better in rehearsals since I've been doing it.
Oh, can you say more?
I feel more fulfilled, I guess. There's been a part of my brain that's been lying dormant. And I think like physical intelligence is an enormous thing.
Yeah.
Like what dancers are able to achieve with their bodies and the physical like... The level of like octopusness of like having brains in your limbs. Do you know what I mean? It's like kind of,
I love that.
It's crazy. It's amazing. But there was a part that like, I have things to say as well as show.
Yes.
And I was like, and I want the tools in order to say what I'd like to say.
Amazing.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
I think that might just be it. That's why I decided to do this degree and write. It's just I have things to say.
I mean, that feels and sounds really clear, actually, and also quite exciting because then it's like, oh, I look forward to hearing more of what you have to say because you've shown us physically a lot of things, which is wonderful, but there's more to you than what we get to see on stage, for example. I mean, I look forward to that. That's really exciting. So you mentioned that you went to the Royal Ballet School?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about your training and also like for anyone who has maybe little or no context about the Royal Ballet School, like education-wise, what does that look like in terms of the physical training versus academic and that type of balance? Just so we kind of have a context in terms of like why now where you are in your career, you're going back to try and further reinforce the things that you would hope to just continue to develop maybe.
Yeah. Well, we're actually sat in the room with someone that I was at school with.
Yes.
Who probably has quite a few silly stories of me. We went to the Royal Ballet School. We graduated White Lodge maybe 2013. Yeah.
Wow.
When I went, I joined in year 10. So like the schedule was like we started with academics first, then ballet, then academics, then ballet. And I do feel like sometimes like the flipping, for example, I have a really ADHD brain.
Okay.
So like for me, focus is an enormous thing and I can only focus so much in one day. Like even in rehearsals now, you've got maybe like a 45-minute window of me, like, and I will give everything.
Yeah.
And then I start going sleepy and just a bit like, and start doing girl solos in the corner because I just can't like stay in it. And so like the schedule
that's
of like,
so funny.
That's me.
Not you out there doing Lilac Fairy.
No, genuinely, like Wayne McGregor, I love him so much because he's just figured out that like he's got like an hour window with me.
Yeah.
Like 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
And then I start making jokes and like laughing and like, and he's like, we've lost Joe. Like, so like he knows that he's got 40 and we'll make something really cool. And then he's like, Joe, go get your coffee.
Yes.
So I think like the bouncing didn't help my brain.
Understood.
I think lots of friends that we had like were just like really good at dealing with that. I just wasn't. I was so focused on being a dancer that I would just sit in academics and I did not. I really just did not care.
I do think, sorry to interrupt, I do think that is a feeling that is echoed by quite a lot of young dancers who are very passionate about wanting to pursue a career in dance and also wanting to pursue a career in dance to a high level.
Yeah.
We can get, I'll use the term loosely, hyper-focused on the goal and wanting to spend all of our time physically, that at the time we don't necessarily see how giving our brain space to process information, whether that is through an academic class or other hobbies, can actually benefit what we're doing in our training. So I think it's quite common.
But then sometimes like at school or like when you're a dancer, you're almost doing those hobbies and stuff to inform your dancing, not just for the sake of doing them.
Yes.
And I think that's what I could hold, if I could hold like little Joe's hand at 14 and be like, you can just like go and play outside for the sake of it.
Yes.
Not to like recharge before your audition tomorrow.
Yes.
Do you know, I feel like sometimes we're thinking of like what happens afterwards before we actually can just like experience the moment.
Yeah.
And so like, that's what I feel like my studying is now, is the actually just, I love learning. I'm a weirdo. I just really love studying and learning like really crazy things.
Oh, maybe we're weirdos together because I enjoy this thing as well.
Yeah. I just feel like there's more to life at the same thing.
Do you want to say that one more time?
There is more to life. And that does not mean that I'm not focused on dance.
Yeah.
But it means that I'm focused on life. I believe we only have one of them. Like, so I can't just dance for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's so much more to know. I want to know about like what's at the bottom of our oceans.
Wow.
Do you know like that kind of...
Yeah, the ocean. I'm going to leave the oceans and let them do what they need to do.
Fair.
I can't.
Space and ocean do not...
Space, I'm more like, oh, what are we doing? But like the ocean, they're a little bit too close.
Yeah, they're too close. But I've gone on an ADHD tangent again, and your question was just, how was White Lodge?
No, but actually, you're providing some like insight in a way that perhaps maybe people haven't heard about it in terms of the approach. So I think it's fine. Sometimes it's good to let people go on a tangent because then we get to, I mean, the ocean and space thing, we went a bit off.
Yeah, I was
that's
like,
okay.
Space.
But it's true because I went to arts educational school in Chiswick.
You did? Because I went to when Tring was arts ed, I was the Tring arts ed.
You went to Tring?
And I think you were on a poster at one time.
Stop.
I was like...
Not me on the poster.
Yeah, I think you were like... Because you must have been 2 years above me.
Maybe.
Then.
Maybe.
Because I was at Tring when it was arts ed.
I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, so we had a very similar sort of start then. Because
Sorry.
Great. I also had this thing where like I would have history in the morning and then I'd have ballet class.
Yeah.
And then I was also wild. I would do additional tap classes at lunchtime or additional French at lunch. Really?
I would do the same. Not additional French. You smart though. You knew what you were doing.
Absolutely. And then we'd go into the afternoon and we'd maybe have English and then we'd go into jazz class, for example. And then we'd have our additional dance classes after the academic day finished. And I was thinking the other day, like, how on earth did I do that? But I genuinely loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like it worked really well for my brain because I'm someone who has got like many interests in different things. And like being at arts ed allowed me to explore lots of those interests.
I was like,
yes,
that part.
But I think also arts ed has less of like a specific like one style focus. For example, like Royal Ballet, it's in their name. We know that there's a heavy ballet focus. Whereas like arts ed is quite, well, at the time I was there, it's very evenly divided, contemporary, jazz,
including
tap.
academics.
Yes, I would say.
I would actually say, like, to piggy off of what you said, I respect and do love my time at White Lodge because it's also meant, and White Lodge and Royal Ballet School, because I've made friends that have like last a lifetime. And also it's completely made my career.
Yeah.
So the biggest amount of respect for that. I was at Tring Arts Ed. I was offered a childhood.
Yes. Oh, nice.
I mean, I hated ballet and when I was at Arts Ed, and that wasn't like vilified. It was like, okay, you love tap dancing, like, or if you were just crazy good at science, that was also like you were in the lab all the time. Or it does feel like fame at Arts Ed.
A little
Tring.
bit, yes.
Like everyone's allowed to have their
thing.
And you go to like the musical theatre performance and then you go to the drum performance. Whereas I think Royal Ballet School, I mean, I struggled the first term. I almost left. In year 10.
I felt the same at Bromberg. I also nearly left after my first. I don't know if I'd ever told you that, Chris. I understand this transition.
And my mum had a serious conversation with me being like, do you want to? Because I missed tap. I missed my childhood. And I think White Lodge now is a lot better at giving a childhood. 100% now.
Yeah.
Everything then was like geared up into like getting into upper school. And there was always like the next step.
Yeah.
And because I have such an ADHD brain, it doesn't take me much to get really hyper focused on something. Like I almost have to be stretched out.
Okay.
Like with a schedule.
Yeah.
Because given the opportunity, I'll go crazy and I'll really funnel
just
in.
Just like zone in on that one thing.
I got through year 10 and year 11. This is no word of a lie. We're handing in one piece. You remember this? One piece of homework. But because I was a good dancer and they were like I got away. I was never in our homework class. We were always in the studio. But sometimes you need to sit down and do your maths homework. And
so did you go straight from the Royal Ballet School into the Royal Ballet Company?
Yes. I got my contract at the beginning of third year, I think in December. And I asked him to take me early. I was like, please take me early. He was like, no, you have to finish your year.
Yeah.
And then, I graduated into the company in 2016.
2016. And you became principal in 2024, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, I was 26.
Incredible.
Thank you.
An amazing achievement.
Thank you very much.
Like, I hope you took your flowers and felt, because it's important to celebrate, because this was, from what I'm hearing from you, a goal of yours that you were able to achieve at a young age of 26. And also to kind of like give space now for new goals and new dreams to be achieved, which is amazing. Despite just being in that company for a long period of time, I feel like your sphere of influence expands beyond the company.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
And one thing that I know is that you curate legacy as one thing, and I'm sure that there are other things. When did you sort of realize that you enjoyed curating? Or do you enjoy curating and building programs and things? Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, it just came from an idea, basically, in the fact that I'd wanted to do it since I was little. Before Legacy, I was actually really, really nervous.
Okay.
Like on the day of the show, I had to like ask a friend of mine to like come to because I had a principal change room, which is amazing. I was by myself, but I was like, you need to come down before the show because I think I may have flopped. Like I was like, I don't know if people want to see what I have to say with work or because obviously like with curating, it's not your work as well. And you want to be very careful to not take credit for other people's work. And that's the choreographers that you've hired. That's also the lighting designers that you've hired.
Absolutely.
That's the people that are like planning and scheduling. Like,
it's a whole team.
Yeah, I curated, but there was also like Julia, who was the producer on it, did like so much for me that I can't really say that it was just my... And also, especially the dancers.
Yeah. Like
the dancers gave their heart and soul to that. So I think I got really nervous before the opening night of it because I really wanted the dancers to feel amazing. That was my main thing. I wanted the dancers to have a really good time, for them to possibly experience work that they weren't used to experiencing.
Okay.
It's always been in my head about possibly exploring being like a director or something like that as well. So like, but I don't know whether it would be like a fully classical director.
Oh.
That's kind of why Legacy was so fun, because it wasn't just like Swan Lakes or... I mean, I know classical companies do a lot more than that, but I think I would like to curate like a smaller theatre, if you know what I mean, and to kind of like take really big swings as to who you invite from around the world and really like care for your audience to possibly expose them to things that they might not be exposed to begin with.
Definitely.
For like not educational purposes, but also like sometimes it's really good to be challenged.
And also just for the sake of experiencing it as well. Art doesn't always have to carry a poignant message. It can just be, and you can just connect and feel and be like, sometimes it's nice to be like, that was nice.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
had a good time watching that. That
Yeah.
was nice.
Yeah.
You know, rather than, what does this mean? And
Yeah,
it's a deep
and then-
philosophical.
yeah.
I feel like there's balance between the two. So actually in programming or curating performances or events or whatever that would look like, that has a multitude of different artistic perspectives.
It feels like filling up a gallery of work.
Oh, that's nice.
That's the nice thing about like that I learned from Legacy was like filling up the evening felt like a gallery and how important it is to like show abstract work that has no meaning, that's just about movement and just about dance. And then also by choosing that, you end up inviting different types of dancers to do that work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
the dancers that possibly wouldn't be on that stage. And then when we have the lineup of like the bows and you just like, I felt really proud looking down and just being like, there's every type of dancer here.
Amazing.
And the main thing is like the kids can see themselves.
Yes.
And that was like,
it's important.
I was like, the job was done then.
Oh,
if you know
I
what
love
I mean.
that. Are there more Legacy things planned?
I do think there will be in my future. I'd like to do possibly Legacy again one more time.
Yes.
In the same prospect. But in the same way as I feel like I have some things to say.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion is and it's fully within this chest and this body, is, for example, like the war in the Middle East and stuff is really affecting me, especially as a person that isn't even from that region, and what I might possibly be able to do with my art that kind of says something about that. It feels sometimes I'm kind of like zooming out as to be like, what causes do I care about as well as just that, and what can I do within my privilege and my platform to kind of raise some level of awareness and also raise awareness to the beauties of that culture. So I'm hoping to do something in that avenue.
Sure.
But I don't know yet. We'll see.
That's exciting. It sounds like that there are many open doors and many pathways that you are creating for yourself. And I like this idea of you saying about zooming out and just kind of understanding what the bigger picture looks like for you, which is super exciting. So I'd like to transition into our this or that section. So I'm going to give you two options. I just need you to choose one or the
Rein
other.
me in.
Yeah. Like super quick, like a
just
3,
quick
2, 1.
Okay.
Give me the answer.
La.
Give me the answer. As a dancer, do you prefer solos or partner work?
Solos.
Oh, why?
I don't know. You asked so quickly.
That's good.
Yeah, even now I've said it, I'm like, whew, what does that mean about me?
No, it doesn't.
I like being able to feel my own body and to be like in my own
You're
experience.
such a dancer.
And,
Let
like,
me just...
But I think it was so quick. But I love both. I love, if I'm doing partner work, I love a really intimate, like soulful connection.
Yeah.
Like deep in the eyes.
We're here.
So yeah, I learned that from like the Alvin, this is quick fire, it's not quick fire. But when the Alvin Ailey dancers came over and I saw how they are like.
They're locked in.
I learned so much from just watching how they like penetrate a stare.
No, you
and
have
they were
to.
doing chroma. And now I'm kind of known as like the dancer in the company that's like looks into your soul on stage.
Yeah.
But unless it's that, I'm a bit like,
no, that's fair.
we're doing it.
The Alvin Ailey stare is iconic. I can't lie to you. And it's something I pride myself on.
You do have it. You do
because
have
it's
it
like
as
the
well.
ability to stand there and just hold.
Yeah, we're doing it to each other right now.
I know.
We are by like, I was like, are we going to fight?
Never. Okay, next one. Narrative or more character work versus abstract work?
Oh, at the moment, I'm having an abstract moment.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Character narrative. Okay. I do love a character narrative work. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Okay, a little bit of both. An abstract moment, but with
I'm
a
having like an
fondness.
abstract like 3 month and I'm loving it.
Okay.
But I do love character work.
Performing abroad or at home? Because I know you've done both.
At home.
At home?
Yeah. I think the pressure is less abroad, which is fun. So you sometimes go like this, but there's nothing like your home theatre.
Actually, yeah, 10 out of 10. Technique or musicality?
Musicality. I say this all the time and people are sick of hearing it, but dance like originated around the campfire. It was a way to tell stories. It was a way to connect with people. And it was about like music and reaction to the elements around you. It wasn't about getting a gold medal at the Olympics.
Love that. Yeah. Oh, you better let me know. Ballet or contemporary?
I knew you were going to do this to me.
Yeah, have to.
As in what I like to dance or I like to watch?
Can be any.
I genuinely find classical work sometimes easier because of my training that I can rely on. I find contemporary work, I have to get into a headspace because a lot of the time you're dealing with very modern issues
Mm-hmm.
or like modern experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you feel a little bit protected in ballet by being a fairy and it being like that being your USP.
Yeah.
Whereas like sometimes in contemporary work, you could be doing something like really, really dark and incredible. And so like my 2-hour period before the stage has to be like very, very well thought out. It depends what though. It's such a hard, I know that's not the answer that you want, but
That's
like,
okay. We can accept it.
if it was Romeo and Manon, it's classical. But then if it's like Wayne and Crystal and like Christopher Bruce, and then it's contemporary. So it's just, they're all just dance.
They're all just dance. I'm also loving the first name basis throughout here.
Oh.
It's Wayne and Crystal. You better let them know. No, I'm joking. Pirouettes or jumps?
Pirouettes. I love spinning.
Oh, that's fun.
I love spinning.
That's fun. Okay, a few more like just quick ones. Favorite role? 3, 2, 1.
Romeo.
Great.
Nick. I went to say Manon as well, but I haven't even done it. It's like
Romeo. We'll take it. Okay, favorite costume? 3, 2, 1.
Giselle Actu.
Oh, nice.
I was ready with that one.
Yes, you were.
You can try me. Let's go.
Favorite place you visited on tour? 3, 2, 1.
Tokyo.
Oh, yeah. Tokyo is beautiful. And so we have our overarching question of the season, which I won't be able to reveal live in this episode, but I can tell you off camera. So our question for season 3 is, what percentage of dancers in the UK have a full-time dance job? So like as a dancer, dance job. What percentage do you think?
Honestly, I would say like 10%.
10%?
Of a full time.
Full time.
Yeah, contracted for an entire year, like at a time. I would say
10%?
Yeah. Oh, no,
I can't tell you anything. It's interesting.
You can off camera and be like, wow, you really dropped the ball on that one.
But the reason I picked this question for the season is because, especially in the contemporary dance world, I understand that the kind of working structure looks a little bit differently in the classical world because there are some more longer standing established companies classically. For like people who are graduating into the industry, sometimes they might walk out with an expectation like, I'm going to join a company and I'm going to do this. In the contemporary world, that was maybe possible, I would say 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You could spend 10 years in one company and that would be something. But a lot of companies now are a lot more project-based. They might be 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, a year and a half. And then, people are looking at different things. So I wanted to open up the conversation of what people who are in the industry and have been in the industry think. And then also reveal what the data shows. Yeah. So then we can have sort of not realistic, but like a transparent understanding of how the industry.
Educational.
You said educate there. Today I wanted to kick off the season talking about advocating for yourself as a dancer and like navigating boundaries and professionalism and what that looks like. Because there are so many conversations both in online spaces and like on projects, well, especially in like the contemporary space, for example, about pay for a dancer, about what is acceptable in terms of like, as a dancer, what can you expect and what do you do when you're in a less than ideal situation and how do you navigate that? And I feel like often dancers don't learn how to use their voice to advocate for themselves until they've spent years in the industry and kind of like experienced this way. So I wanted to just kind of talk about that just to see like how do we equip people to understand professionalism and like personal boundaries but also respect and honor for the craft, big questions, deep things. What does professionalism look like to you in a dance work setting? So you're a dancer and you're going in and someone's just like, yeah, we expect you to be professional. Like what does that mean to you?
Project-based dancers have that mentality the best.
Oh, can you say more? Let me uncross my legs.
You're like, I just dropped her.
Yeah.
When you've got to pay a dime, and actually it's interesting that your overarching question is that about full-time contracts or not, is I think people that aren't on full-time contracts actually have to have such a high level of professionalism because not only are you your own agent,
yes,
you're your own like timekeeper, you're doing your own taxes. Self-assessment.
Yeah, correct.
It's self-assessment. There's nothing to relax on. The level of professionalism is like on point. I mean, when I've had like R&D periods, for example, I learned so much from working with Chris because like, I remember the first 2 days because I'm I went to like the Royal Ballet School, and like you just end up places. And I remember because we were rehearsing in like West, like we were down in West.
Not the
My
shade.
timekeeping was so my timekeeping was so bad that like, I would be like unprofessionally like maybe an hour late. Yeah, Chris is like, I remember. But then seeing those dancers who were in the studio like on time,
Yeah.
purely because it was Chris had rented the studio.
Yes.
Like that was his money that had gone into that. He was paying us. And also like with R&D periods or people that are freelancers, you have that 6 hour in the period, like that you are working hard.
Yes.
You are creating art together and you have to be present for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be like in the back of the studio with like chilling, to be honest, which sometimes I think in ballet companies we can do.
Yeah. You're afforded the time to do that.
Yeah.
With like maybe, well, I don't know how long you get to work on each show and things, but like, I imagine it's more than sometimes the 3-4 days that you get on a freelance project to create something.
And I think that's the best thing about the people that I've worked with is because I think I've taken that on board in every aspect. Like, for example, I worked with like Yolanda York-Edgell when I was at school.
Yeah.
And like loads of dancers were going off to do like classical summer schools in summer. And maybe I was a bit of a like idiot because I was like, I want to go to the Royal Ballet Company. So I'm not like, I was like, that's my goal. I'm not even. And then I was like, but the thing that I do need is like freelance experience. So I'm going to go work with York Dance Project in this summer.
Yeah.
And being in the studio with like incredible professional 40-year-old dancers showing me they brought their own lunch. They're sorting their own lives out and present for the person at the front of the room.
Yes.
It feels a lot more collaborative. And I think sometimes ballet can feel this person at the front and then the work. And I think when I've entered freelance spaces, I've expected that.
Yes.
And been shocked by the fact that I sometimes feel more equal. And that also means I have a responsibility for the choreographer and the people that I've turned up for that day.
Let's say we're in a freelance setting, just so that we understand the container of it. And your rehearsal starts at 11. What time do you think dancers should, like what sort of time window should they be arriving to start work at 11?
So my colleagues are going to roll their eyes so hard at me trying to act so high and mighty because I'm still 5 minutes late for class every morning. So here's me being like professionalism and there's me with my coffee in the morning. But when you're doing like freelancer, like project based, it's also your job to warm up.
Yes.
So you should probably get there an hour before.
Oh, I think an hour is a bit steep.
Yeah?
I think an hour is a bit steep.
I'm still learning.
Well, but
Teach me. Teach me always.
No, but it's good because there are maybe some people who are in classical companies who might want to go into a freelance space, and there's people who are fresh in the industry. You know, this is why I'm like, this is why we have these conversations. Because as a dancer, I used to try, well, actually, Richard Alston set me up really well. There was kind of an expectation that you were in the building and in the studio at least 20 minutes before class start. Before class started. Yeah, at least 20 minutes before class started. And then sometimes if you needed a longer warm-up, you'd be there at least half an hour before. Okay. Now, people came in varying degrees and so on and so forth. But then as a choreographer now, when I'm like going into a space, I see a lot more people kind of arriving maybe 5 minutes before class and things like this. And you know, sometimes if I'm creating, I will do like a warm-up. If I'm working with students, I'll do a warm-up. And then sometimes I'll be like, you can't expect that the warm-up is going to happen, you know? Because what happens now if I'm like, okay, we're only going to do 10 minutes and then we're going to get straight into this. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, oh, what is acceptable? Because I think it's different for many different people in different projects, different companies, different processes. So that's really interesting. Do you get in trouble for being late in ballet class?
Not now as a principal.
Oh! I'm sorry, that's so iconic. Not now.
But it's only the warm-up tendu.
It's only the warm-up tendu. Do you do your plie? You're there for the plie?
Yeah. I'm always there for plies or halfway through plies. I'm trying. I'm out here trying. If
you walked in late on a project space,
see, that's boundary. You can't do
like, that. I feel like that scene is really disrespectful.
No, it should be. And I've done it and it is. And I would never do it again.
Yeah.
Like it's honestly, yeah.
Yeah. This is not even like putting you on the spot here. I'm just like thinking about as like an industry practice, what is considered professional. And I wonder, I mean, I don't know, maybe leave a comment leave something, let us know.
Project based as well. I was getting used to like a 6-hour window is just not what I'm used to. I'm used to like an hour here, then an hour doing this pas de deux, an hour doing this contemporary piece.
Oh,
so
I
I think the
see.
window of like 6 hours was like so daunting that I was like, okay,
Yeah.
how do I manage that 6 hours? Which is where I think freelance dancers are like built different.
I'm so glad you said this actually, because
Built
it's
different.
Yeah. And I do think it falls under the professionalism aspect of it, of like understanding what is required of you for that day. And then it's your responsibility to manage yourself accordingly. So you need to bring enough food to fuel you, or know that you can access food to fuel you for the day.
Because it's not their responsibility. It's not their responsibility
not.
that there isn't a Sainsbury's downstairs.
But then also
read.
Well, no, I also question, I feel like we should rehearse in spaces where there is access to food.
Yeah.
Because not everyone is going to be able to prep their food before they come in. You know, they may have had a morning. Some people are, I was doing some job recently, people are parents. They were getting their kids ready this morning. They haven't got time necessarily. Is it the organisation's responsibility to ensure that they're rehearsing in a space where there is access or close access within 10, 20 minutes?
See, this is why I like this podcast, man. Because it's you just opening the questions for people to actually have the conversation, to be like, shall we set some standards, please?
You know, like, is that something that needs to be considered? Because then what do we do? For example, I was recently performing abroad, and the first place that they had expected us to rehearse in for the day, the nearest food place was maybe about half an hour away.
That's not good.
And we're in hotels, so we can't necessarily, and there's no supermarket like nearby. We arrived late at night, so we couldn't go to a supermarket, for example. We couldn't have stayed there the whole day because none of us had access to food. So then that presents like an issue. So this is why I'm just, I don't have an answer, but I'm just asking the question. What do you think are, on that note, the sort of like bare minimum things that should be considered for like a fruitful professional working space as a dancer? Because like I have like one that is so big on the freelance world for me, and I'm like, it's clean dance floors. Clean dance floors. Like the dance floor should be cleaned.
Though. That's the thing.
You have beautiful studios.
No, sorry, I felt my privilege go through my entire body, like clean dance floor.
Yeah, some of the spaces that you can go into, you're just like, what is this? Like the studio, especially because
100%, yeah.
If you're rolling around doing floor work, people who've worked with me know this. It's just like, if my hair's done and my skincare is done, and the floor is dirty, I'm like this far away from the floor.
Also, for me, it stays in my hair.
Correct.
The dust will stay.
You know?
Like, it's not coming out until wash day.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what I mean? So I'm like, what are some of the like bare minimum things that I think we need to kind of like speak about in terms of, because I think this is also advocating for yourself and saying, hey, can the floor be cleaned, please, before we do 100%. This? I'm like, welcome to the freelance world.
Good temperatures. This
is a big one.
Straight up.
Yeah. Do you know like what's a good temperature for the space?
I don't actually know. I just expect it.
No, that's fair.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because like young people coming out of schools are not going to know. You don't really get told about like ensuring that the temperatures are good in the room.
I would always rather it was too hot than too cold.
Yeah, same.
I want to be in a sauna, not the Antarctic.
Yeah, especially when the floor is cold. Having a cold dance floor, it's so hard to warm your body up if the floor is cold.
Well, it just feels like... It feels abusive. It feels like you're like trying to like, no, it does. It feels like you're like trying to, and the earth is fighting you.
Fine.
It's like cold.
Yeah, fairs. My other one is a good sound system.
Interesting, because I get really annoyed now when sound systems don't, this might be really privileged again, but like when they don't have like Bluetooth or a wire that can work for the phones that we all have.
Yeah.
Otherwise you have no business giving a sound system if these people can't use this. And then to be like, sorry, use your 2013 MacBook. You can't.
Yeah. No, it is that, because actually there's several times that people are like, do you have your adapter? Do you have your this? And then it's, but now that I teach, I always have an adapter and I have a spare one with me. So like I'm ready.
Professional as hell. Like,
speaking of professionalism. So I have to ask, what's one thing that you think is acceptable in a dance context that would absolutely be unacceptable in any other industry? Because there's some things that we have in dance that is like totally normal, that you tell people who are non-dancers and they're like quick changes in the sides of the wings. Yeah. For example, and being able to like just like change, and it's like not anything. Yeah. And people are being respected, your space is being respected, like nothing is being violated at all. And like it being completely commonplace. to just have someone changing outfits, characters, costume, whatever, with like, if you're lucky, it's a big production, you've got like 2 people changing you or something like this. No one batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
And my second one is like constantly touching.
I would say a touch is what came to my head.
Yes.
Because I am also very tactile.
Yeah.
But I can understand how people feel uncomfortable with that at the same time. So it's a hard one. But just because we're so used to like, the boundaries are not so blurred, but just like in the fact that like we're very used to being very, very like commonplace with each other's. But like a massive hug is just not a massive issue to me. Like I'll hug everyone if like, but I'm an oddbod. Like even if I meet a new choreographer in the studio, like I will go up and I won't shake. I will hug and be like, I am Joe. I'm a human being. Let's touch.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we know.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
The other one I have is, well, this is maybe a bit more contemporary dancer coded, sitting on the floor and being barefoot.
I prefer sitting on the floor.
I think this is dancers across the board that like, there's something about like, there'll be a perfectly fine chair and we're all sat on the floor.
Yeah. Sometimes I have that backstage if I'm watching a show and they have like a few chairs at the front of the wing. Bless them. They're like, you're a principal. Do you want the chair? And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Let me have my legs out.
Yeah.
My knees will get swollen.
I just thought of one that is a little bit more like industry practice and can kind of go into this professionalism thing. And freelancers will see this a lot more, is seeing a job advertised and no salary actually being disclosed on the job advertisement and going through the whole process not knowing how much you're actually going to be paid.
What do you think? Is that, sure you think that's not okay?
That's not okay.
Okay, yeah. That's why I thought you were about to be like, that's fine. And I was like, that's not like you.
No, in like most other industries, it's just unacceptable to do a job posting like this.
Okay.
You know? And so then it's like, I guess my question is, as a dancer, when we come up against things that we are a bit like, I don't necessarily, not just disagree, because there's personal opinion and then there's kind of like industry practice. There's 2 different things that I want to, because you can't just be like, I don't like this, so I don't want to do this.
That's the thing.
How would one go about advocating for something? Let's use something quite trivial, like the temperature of the studio is not what it needs to be and it's not safe for our bodies. Do you have any advice on how one could go about kind of advocating for themselves in that space and honouring their personal boundary and looking after their body that way?
As a person, I'm very communicative. So I will always say if I'm not comfortable with something.
Yeah.
But I'll say it in a way that's not aggressive. I would always just be like, you must know that this isn't the best working conditions for you nor I. Because you must be cold.
Do you say it like this?
Yeah, I'd just be like, you must be cold, no? And then if they're like, yeah, and I'd be like, so we both know that this isn't great. Like, so well, in my head I was laughing because I was thought of like the animals when they're like, if you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside. Like, if the person at the front of the room is cold and you can wear layers and sit on the laptop and I'm out here almost naked, cold, we've got an issue.
And so then imagine there's someone who's like freshly graduated, so they're young and they're speaking
Bless
to
them.
Do you know what I mean? But they're speaking to an established choreographer, for example, or rehearsal director or something like this. Would you advise them to approach them like this?
I wish I could, but no.
Yeah, right. What would you tell the young people? Because you're telling established dancers how to do that.
Read me.
Yes.
I'm going to get my leg.
No, because I was just like, I would not tell a student to do that.
Honestly, fair. I wish I could. I would say, grin and bear it.
Grin and bear it?
To a student.
No.
Maybe I'm not good at it.
But it's hard because also
I'm like here or I'm here. Like,
right.
Never in between.
Never in between. What I would offer is, for example, like if the studio isn't warm, or the stage in particular, if the stage is too cold, you know, find who the person that you need to speak to is. So become familiar with who that is.
Manager.
Is that the stage manager? Is that the rehearsal director? Is that the choreographer themselves? Depends on the scale of the project, etc. Is it their assistant? Like, really identify early on in your process who the person is that you need to speak to address these things. Because if you're walking up to the lighting designer saying it's cold in here, the lighting designer is going to look at you and be like, yeah, it is.
But yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd say that first, and then also like build a language where it can be like, hey, the studio feels like really cold and I'm just a bit nervous that like for the longevity of the day, is it possible that we can do X, Y, and Z? And to be bold enough to ask that rather than grin and bear it, because then it
thank you for that. Because one, you've also educated me, and two, you just like stopped me from getting cancelled.
You You wouldn't get
You did the work.
cancelled.
You did the professional work for me as a host of the podcast to be like, maybe not.
No, but the thing is, there's a lot of people who still feel uncomfortable voicing things like this. Listen, I'm at a place in my career where I am quite comfortable walking away from a job. And it's very rare that I've had to do that in a situation. So because I'm not as precious about like, I have to be really well liked here and I have to do this, etc., because I understand that my worth is beyond your perception of me. I'm okay to speak up and say, actually, this floor's really dirty. Actually, the floor's not sprung. You're asking me to jump. That is not sustainable on my body, because then what's going to happen is people would get injured, and then it becomes a responsibility of those managing the space to find solutions and things like that. So, but there's a lot of people who still feel uncomfortable, or like, how do I approach that? And like, what is an appropriate way to do this? And I think it's good to have the vulnerability of being like, well, I'm in a space where actually I don't usually have to do this. And that's good. That's the standard. That is the standard. So then it's like, for those who are in more freelance spaces where the standards are questionable sometimes, how do we do that? Do you know what I mean? Do you have any advice for someone having to navigate a difficult conversation at work?
See, this is where I'm better at. This is where I shine.
Come on. Shine your light nice and bright.
So through experience, I've had to like be very, very savvy and know how to approach a subject that like is going to be very difficult for both parties, me and the person.
Yeah.
What I'm quite good at is, for example, if like someone raises their voice, I really think it should be commonplace and stuff to genuinely be able to stop the rehearsal, which I have done before and been like in front of the entire like 80 people full of room to be like, you don't talk to me like that. I'm really sorry that you felt it okay to do that. And I'm just telling you, if we're going to continue this rehearsal, I'm not going. But I will go if that continues.
Oh.
I'm not in this space to have a voice raised at me.
Correct.
Or to have like comments on my appearance.
Yes.
So if you're commenting on my dancing, or a positive criticism or negative criticism, feedback. Constructive, I'm good. If you've got something with the way that my lip sticks out and you think that I look more angry than other people just because of the way that my face is formed, or you're more threatened by my presence than others, that's your issue that you need to go to therapy for, not mine. And I have no qualms being like, after a rehearsal, if I felt a vibe, to be like, can we grab a second? And to be like, help me help you understand how we work better in the studio together, because I feel this type of way. I want to open the dialogue to know what you might feel from me, so we know where we stand and we know whether I have to go or not. Because I'm in a similar place with you, and like, I'm super privileged in the way that I can walk away from things. Like, that's why, for example, for me, I would be like, grin and bear it to the young ones, because it's like, sometimes it's like, if you're in a ballet company, it feels like you have to get up. Whereas I'm on that place when it's like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to dance together. If you're not down to vibe, it's really okay.
How do we challenge that in a more classical space so that the young ones don't have to grin and bear?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Do you know what I mean?
I think what you said.
Okay.
I think absolutely what I genuinely just learned from you.
I love that.
In the fact that to be like, to find your line manager, to find the people that you can talk to about those scenarios. It's
tricky because then I don't want everyone to have to go through years of the industry to then learn how to advocate for themselves. But then I also, and I'm going to be like very mindful when I say this, it's also not just about you in the space. And sometimes when it's like, I feel, it can breed a sort of entitlement that the whole room now needs to adjust to how you feel. And it's like, actually what I'm talking about is bridging the balance that it's me plus others in the room. And for example, if we'll use the example of a raised voice, because that's what you said, I'm also of the belief, like, I did not wake up and leave my house this morning to be shouted at, you know? So there's no reason why that communication needed to come across in that specific way. So then it's like, okay, cool. When this happened, when you raised your voice, for me, this is quite unacceptable in a workspace. How can we do X, Y, and Z moving forward like this? And I'm wondering how, as well, for anyone listening as well, like, how can you build a language that is respectful, that honors yourself, but also honors the other person? So that we can have a fruitful workspace. Because if everyone's doing the individual work, the space will have a collective respect that's there. Do you know what I mean? But then also that can be quite taxing on the person who is trying to quote unquote do the work. So how do you look after yourself when advocating feels like a heavy burden to carry?
I disappear to the mountains.
Oh, like literally?
Like, genuinely.
That's iconic. I can't lie.
Genuinely.
That's iconic.
That was the first thing that came up in my head.
Okay, and what does that do for you though?
I have to separate myself. Like, I think that's also like what my degree and stuff is context and perspective.
Yes.
Because when I'm struggling with something, I have to remind myself there's more to life.
Yeah.
I went for a period of time when I just felt like I was solely advocating for myself and other people constantly.
Yeah.
Which was incredible, but I just felt very burnt out from that. Like, I'll plan my season now to know that I'll have weekends away in York or something, to know during a time when it might be a difficult period and that I can disappear, or to spend time with my family, or to touch some grass, or to read. Genuinely, for me, to take care of myself is to do other things, and to especially spend time with the people I love, my friends, hear about their breakups, hear about the, honestly, like, be there for their breakups. Like, I think sometimes, like, we're like, I've got a rehearsal tomorrow, I can't really talk about your breakup right now. No, it's more important. I genuinely would say, like, my loves of my life have kind of surpassed my career in what I prioritize. And being there for them means that it's easier to advocate myself in a place that might be separate from my experience. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense, yeah. And I think it's an important thing to bring up for people to think for themselves, like, what are the things that fill my cup back up? Because you're listing a bunch of things that fill you back up, which are beautiful things, and going to the mountains and being around, I love being around nature, especially if I feel overwhelmed, or sometimes I'm like, I just need to be by a body of water because I find the water very calming, for example. Yeah, you know? But this thing of like speaking to your friends, or this thought, actually, I'm so glad you said it, of like, I have this tomorrow, I have a big show tomorrow, I can't do this. Actually doing something else that allows your brain to rest from any kind of like worry, overthinking, or just normal thinking, or whatever that is,
will help.
It will help.
Yeah.
And so I guess my encouragement to people is to start exploring from wherever you are now, the things that fill your cup up, so that when the industry gets harder, or you have to deal with things that are a bit more difficult, you don't just remain depleted and try and stay in the industry from a depleted place.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go to the mountains, go to the mountains. Do you know what I mean?
I have a thought as well, though,
Tell me.
from what you were saying earlier about, like, for those younger dancers that can't advocate for themselves. I take my responsibility in the studio as a senior dancer very, very, like, importantly, in the fact that it's my job to protect them. If I see a younger dancer be shouted at, I don't just go up and say that if the voice was raised at me, I will say, like, you need to know you can't talk to that dancer like that. They haven't come to speak to me about this, but I won't be in the studio while you do that.
Yeah.
Or go speak to the line manager to be like, I saw this thing happen. I will go up and say something with my privilege. And especially, like, men in the studio.
Okay.
Have your finger on the pulse of the studio and protect the women in the studio. Because if there's inappropriate things happening, it's down to us to be able to, like, we can't be doing this.
Right.
We can't be, Because I feel like there are vulnerable people in the studio that won't be able to advocate them for themselves in certain scenarios. And I do feel like it's down to, like, the senior members, or also, like, just know your privilege and where your blind spots are. And that doesn't take away from your dancing. A lot of people would be like, I want to be focused on the work. I want to, and that makes me roll my eyes so hard.
Yeah.
Life isn't so egotistical and narcissistic that you can't look after others while also being at the top of your game.
Yeah. And I think it's about finding the balance between advocating for yourself and supporting others and not speaking for others.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you see a younger dancer who you probably know well and know that they probably won't speak up against someone shouting at them in the studio, taking that initiative to, like, go to the rehearsal and be like, hey, this happened. Can we just ensure that this doesn't happen, or that this was addressed? Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot of power in that, and it can help people feel less alone in their experience, so that advocating for yourself can also be through advocating for other people and, like, upholding this kind of unified professionalism. But then it comes back to the like, everyone just needs to hold responsibility for themselves in the space. Yes, it's transactional in a sense of the dancer goes, they provide their skills, their artistry, and you know, we perform, and in that type of way. I don't like to use that language, but to an extent it can feel a little bit,
I mean, it also is a job.
It is,
Yeah.
you know, but then this is a passion-based job. And so
they can get away with a lot with that word.
And so you're dealing with people's vulnerabilities and things that are close to their identity and who they are and what they do and what they pour their time into. If people kind of have that as a base when they walk into the space, especially those leading rooms and those in senior positions as well, then we can start to like fashion like a good professional space. Do you know what I mean?
It just works by just slowly clipping the tapestry into a more like succinct, more like streamlined version.
Absolutely. And so I have one more question on this, and then I want to find out how you know your worth as an artist. I'm sure you deal with fan culture, both online and in person. And I think it can be quite important when people feel like they know you very well. How do you navigate keeping your personal boundaries despite having a big online and visible presence in the work that you do?
I mean, for example, online, if there's a moment when I'm talking about or addressing a subject that might be like quite politically like, I don't know, illuminating or something like that, I'll turn off my comments.
Ah, okay.
Now I do that because I'm very vocal.
Yes.
I can get a comment or something that might come at you like just before you go on stage, or like you can't control when you receive those moments and what.
True.
And sometimes I want to like, it's not just about stage. Sometimes I want to be present with my friend and I'll get a thing and they might be talking about something that they really care about, but now we're going to have to talk about this person who said this thing on my Instagram, and it just, the phone sometimes is such a like, it takes you out of the moment that I actually really hate it at the same time. Like I'll decide whether I'll turn my comments off for a certain scenario. I sometimes get things of people being like, why aren't you, because I take my summers very seriously. I take my time off very, very seriously.
And it's important too.
Yeah. There's no bar happening in the mountains.
No.
Like it's not, I'm not there doing tondus, and I cannot apologize. I'm not apologizing for that.
Yeah.
Because I do it every other week of the year.
Yeah.
I think there's also like a type of career that people imagine me having, like as a principal dancer, that's like, you never stop dancing. And
Interesting.
it's my entire personality. And that's just like simply not the way I'm formed.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be at my best if that's how I approach it.
Something that I hope that we change the mindset of as dancers. If it was an athlete, athletes have on seasons and off seasons. And I find it so odd that people really struggle with the idea that dancers need that downtime in order to prepare their body to be in a season of high intensity. I'm glad you said that there's no bar with you in the mountains.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not. The shoes aren't coming with me.
It's good.
Like,
it's good.
Not, like,
things like turning off the comments, as you said. I have something like half an hour before I go on stage. It's very rare that I'm checking my phone unless someone is coming to watch the show and I'm just making sure that they've got their ticket or something along those lines.
I've started doing that as well. I turn it off an hour before.
Yes. And then also, for example, one experience of fan culture when I was playing Juliet, I don't post in real time, like what's happening, especially if I'm on tour, just like a safety thing as well. And so I don't know how they knew, but they were.
Your level of professionalism is so outstanding.
It has to be.
I find it very inspiring. Sorry, continue.
But this fan, I hadn't shared anything, but they were like, oh, you get off at this flight. And they knew the time that our flight had landed. And, you know, had asked, oh, what hotel are the company staying in? This is the type of information that I personally won't give out because it's putting the safety of everyone, even though sometimes they're well-meaning and it's harmless and there's nothing like this.
Autograph, but
also, you know, after you've done a show, that's great. There's like a half-hour window where I will continue to be social, and then I might need to be like, thank you, I have to head home now.
Sometimes I even, this is going to be like putting me on blast.
Oh, really?
Completely.
Okay. It's entirely optional to put yourself on blast.
But it sometimes even that like period after a show, I feel really, really vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah.
And so like I can only choose sometimes when I like, when I'm feeling like, especially if I've done a bad show.
Right.
I sometimes can't actually, and it's not because I don't want to see people. Like, I can't pretend that what I did then I'm like happy.
And that's okay.
So sometimes I will like disappear and cycle. When I've decided that, I've made the actual decision to be like, I'm not happy with the show that I've done, and I don't think people should see how disappointed I am in myself.
Yeah. And I think that's a complete sentence, and that doesn't need to be justified, because actually the time we spend with people who've watched the show at stage door is our time. And it's not a time that, whether people agree or disagree, I have no idea. It's not a time that audience members are entitled to, actually.
Fair.
But it is a commonplace practice, you know.
And I love it.
And me too. I absolutely love coming out to speak to people and hear what they think and thought, or this, that, and the other. I really, really enjoy that. But there is, this is why I would say it's not something that they are entitled to, because the performer has just spent 2 hours plus on stage. And if you are having a vulnerable moment and you don't have the energy to engage with someone, then I would prefer to take myself away and then respond later online if that is the case, rather than go meet someone and they were like, they were so rude, they didn't have time for me.
Yeah, sometimes a lot can happen in a life.
Yes.
That's not just that show either.
Exactly.
Like my mum was really, really sick at one point and I was genuinely like racing after a show to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I will come out as much as possible. The only times I won't come out is if I've done a shoddy show or like someone needs me.
Yeah.
The loves of my life are like, and I'm so sorry that I right now I can't give you that time. That doesn't mean I didn't want to.
Exactly.
You know what I
And
mean?
I think that comes under the professionalism thing.
Yeah.
And also part of advocating for yourself as well, and knowing when you have the capacity to continue giving to people at stage door and offering gratitude, etc. and thanks for them coming to support the show, and also knowing when like actually I still feel these things for you, but at this moment I need to just head home so I can like fully decompress.
Sometimes I really just,
do you know what I mean?
I have to.
I just want to normalize that as a practice so that those who are coming to watch the show and those who are performing in shows have that shared understanding that sometimes it's not really personal.
The biggest thing about advocating for yourself is to be able to have those vulnerable moments. That's like my one thing as a dancer is to allow yourself, if something and that moment really can't feel right for you.
Yeah.
Like you just can't go out stage door that night.
Yeah.
It can be something as small as that, or it can be like being in a space that you shouldn't be, you can feel in your hearts of hearts shouldn't be in. You go with your gut.
Yes.
And it's always best.
It is.
Like,
yeah. I feel like it kind of leads on to this idea of knowing your worth. So I wondered if you had, as like a final thought to round up this episode, anything that you would say is like key for you knowing your worth, or any advice you'd give to performers and artists out there about how to know their worth in this industry.
For me, I can only go from like personal experience, and it came in like hindsight. Unfortunately, my worth came from being in situations that I learned when to say no and when to leave and when to say this isn't right for me.
Yeah.
And so like I don't want to tell the young dancers to like find it at 19, because like I would love to hear if they have, because I'd be so jealous. Like I'd be so supportive of that. I never want to put pressure on people, because sometimes I feel like as well, like in our culture at the moment, everything is so like how to be the best possible you, how to be. And sometimes I feel like self-worth and stuff like that is like thrown into that of like step-by-step plan for you to become the best version of you in a year. And life is like this. And I do think it's okay to have moments of low worth as well. Not when you're put in them. It comes step by step from you choosing yourself over and over again.
Yeah.
In the little moments and in the big moments. Like it can be walking up to someone at the front of the studio and being like, that weren't cool. Like, how do we move through this in a better place? Otherwise, like I can disappear if you need me to. Or it can be that like little acts of resilience you can do in the day. Even little things like you deciding how your hair is that day in that studio. I think worth is like built through little actions.
Yeah. I like what you said about choosing yourself in big ways and small ways.
Yeah.
And that knowing that choosing yourself isn't always selfish, is what I'd say in a dance context. As long as there's respect for the room, you can choose yourself and still be respectful of the room. And I think it's a brilliant way to start knowing your worth, because oftentimes we are encouraged as artists, not all the time, to prioritize the room over self.
Yeah.
So it feels quite good to know that sometimes that's important. You know, you've got 2 hours and someone needs to learn a role. Cool. Also, knowing when to prioritize yourself over the room feels like a really great balance and perfect way to kind of round up where we are. So we've come to the end of our episode. It's gone by super quickly. Just want to say a massive thank you for your time, your wisdom, your vulnerability and your openness.
Thank you for
as
having
well.
me. I've loved it.
I had a great time. Lots of laughs, lots of great
giggles.
insights. It's just been amazing. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. And a massive thank you to everyone who's tuned in either online via the video or listening to our audio. Please continue to engage with our content, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And until next time, we'll see you very soon.